Welcome to the Creepin' It Real Show, your one-stop shop for weird news, movie reviews, otherworldly, and paranormal shenanigans. We'll take a dive into what's going on in creepy pop culture. You can follow Creepin' It Real Show on Twitter at creepin_it. You can email us at creepinitrealshow@gmail.com. And you can also go to our website, creepinitshow.com. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Creepin' It Real. We have quickly come around to episode 9, and I'm kind of amazed at seeing that because it just seems like the other day when we jumped in and started this venture. And it's been fun. I want to introduce my co-hosts. We're going to start off with Moni. How are you doing in the sunny state of California?
What's up, homies? Today we actually had a semi-fall day. There was a little bit of rain, and it was like in the 60s instead of the 90s. So that was kind of nice. And I had today off, so I got to hang out with my kids, which was, one nice-ish, as much as hanging out with your small children can ever be. And I'm excited to be here and be talking to you guys and have some nice wine. And I have some mini donuts because I am a 12-year-old girl. How you doing, Miss Kristi?
Hi. I'm doing well. I have been drinking a lot, and this is the first show that I wasn't really planning for. It's weird because usually I'm like, we're going to plan and we're going to plan and we're going to plan. And not today, though. I'm sorry, Yardley. So if I sound ridiculous tonight, I apologize, but I just let my shit go this week, and that sometimes happens. So I'm not going to apologize for it, y'all. How are you, Yardley?
You know what? I'm doing great. It's Friday. The weather's been pretty decent, and we're talking some horror from across the pond. So as usual, it's going to be very fun. So you know what? Let's just dive into it. The movie, and we actually posted this on our Facebook page at Creepin' It Real Show. It is the South Korean zombie apocalypse movie, The Train to Busan. The film was directed by Young Sang-ho and it's starring Gong Yoo, Jun Yu-mai, and Mong Dan-seok. So the film takes place on a train in Busan.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I would not have been able to read that without a buzz. So that worked out quite well. But what we're going to do, because I know that I can't do that the whole show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight some of the main characters and the secondary characters. Now, as with a lot of movies like this, most of the characters are tertiary characters. They're just throwaway people. They're the people who kind of get thrown to the wolves throughout a movie. So we're going to focus on probably about 5 or 6 characters, but I'm going to give some of them nicknames. So our pretty much main characters are the characters Seok Woo. He's a fund manager and the father of Sue Ann. Yes. So I guess I'll just say father and daughter most of the time with these two characters.
I love it. Let's do that.
I like that. Yeah.
Awesome. And some of the secondary characters, there's kind of like this working class dude. He's a real tough guy. We'll just call him Tough Guy. He's married.
Love him.
He's awesome. And he's married to his wife is pregnant because, only a pregnancy can kind of up the ante in this type of a horror movie. So we'll call her the pregnant wife. And there is a rich CEO or COO rather that's on this train. His name is Yeon Suk. Not necessarily a super major character, but he does some major things a little bit later on in the movie.
But he is a dick, so yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Can we just call him D-Bag?
We can call him D-Bag. That'll be his name. And basically, there are 2 other characters. They are they are very mature older sisters. We'll just call them old school 1 and 2.
Yardley,
Okay.
Yardley, before we start the whole movie review, can I tell you that this week when I watched the movie, and first of all, I'm not a really big movie that has, what do you call that? Shit. Sorry, I'm drunk, so I'm trying to think of names, but
Words are hard.
With the words on the bottom of the damn screen.
Words on the bottom. Oh, subtitles.
Subtitles. Thank you.
Why do you just watch it in English?
I didn't have
you
anything.
Do that?
Could you?
I watched it on Netflix.
Yes.
Well, I have it on. I actually have it on Blu-ray, so maybe that's why.
Oh my God!
Awesome. No, I have it on. No, let me just tell you. First of all, I watched the whole fucking movie with subtitles, and I hate subtitles. But I will tell you that I watched this, and at the end of it, I had a text, and it was all caps for you, Yardley, because holy shit. And I'm not going to say what happens at the end, because I'm just going to let that organically happen. But I had it all text ready for you. And then I decided not to send it, and I decided to wait for the review, because I'm going to be, old school and let it happen organically on the show. But yes, holy shit, dude, this was a rough fucking movie, dude. So let's get into it. Sorry to take it over, but I had to say that.
Well, actually, we might as well dive into it, because pretty much this movie was full speed ahead. I think that we pretty much jump into the action of the movie probably within 15 or 20 minutes of the movie starting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the listeners an overview. It's just essentially the film takes place on a train that's going to Busan, and a zombie apocalypse starts to break out in the country, and essentially just compromises and puts everyone in danger, to make a long story short. So we're going to start off in the first act of the film, where the father, the fund manager, is talking to his daughter, and she wants him to take her to go see her mother in Busan for her birthday. Naturally, they have a lot of high-speed rail, so they are going to take the train. So as this father... Oh, go ahead.
Can we be clear? It's not fun manager. It's fund manager. Not
He is the opposite of fun, for sure.
He's the opposite of fun. Not fun manager. Fund. Fun like banks. Not like fun. I'm a manager of the good times. No, he's the opposite. Thank you, Moni. That's what I was trying to say. No.
He sucks the good times out of a room, yo.
He is not a good time dude.
Obviously, he isn't that much fun, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't he have to almost be shamed into doing that for his daughter? There was a video.
His mom is like, oh, you should do this. And he's like, fuck you guys.
Well, while the father and daughter are on the train, trying to head to Busan, on their way there, they see all types of police cars and convoys and first responders and buildings burning, which is the first sign of a shit show, and you're going headlong into it. So as far as the concept and the setting for this movie, what did you think about, and we're going to start with Moni, what did you think about it being on a train? I thought that was fun. It was kind of unique, and I think that it actually upped the ante of the danger that all of our characters were in.
I don't know if you guys saw the movie Snowpiercer, but
yes,
that movie... Yes. Yeah, so that is really awesome. It's sci-fi. It's not horror per se. I always love me a zombie film that is the fast-moving zombies. So the visuals of the zombies on the train and beyond, running fast and climbing over each other, and just this wall of moving humans that are coming to eat your face, was fucking awesome. And then of course, being on a train, because you're in this enclosed space with this wave of deadly humans coming at you. And then it did kind of remind me of Snowpiercer, where, well, we'll get to that in a minute though, but some of the scenes where they're having to go through the cars full of zombies, and they're having to just punch and fight their way through and go through tunnels where it's dark sometimes, and that's just badass. And it really harkened back to Snowpiercer, which is just one of my favorite sci-fi films of the last 5 or 10 years. So I love the concept, and even though there were subtitles, and I was tempted to send a nasty text I'm going to actually have to stay awake for this shit because I have to read it, it ended up working out because the angst of the Moni was strong when I first realized that there was reading involved. I was like, I told my husband, like, if I wanted to read, I would have got a fucking book. Like,
yeah, you're a librarian, for Christ's sake.
I know, that's it. I was like, I would have got a book. I don't want to, like, watch a movie to read, but it worked out. So move along.
Yardley,
Sorry, I liked the concept for
Yardley,
sure.
Here I am feeling the guilt because I'm the one that's like, I hate reading while watching a movie. And now I hear that Mrs. Librarian's upset that she has to read, which, you know, after it got started, like, I don't like reading while watching a TV show or a movie, because I'm sitting there and I'm watching the movie and I'm pretty good at knowing, okay, this is when I need to watch and this is when I don't care and I'm going to be on my phone, and I'm a really ridiculous multitasker. And so I had to put my phone down, which, Yardley, I learned I kind of like just putting my phone down
and having to pay attention to one damn thing.
And then I'm watching just one thing and paying attention to it. And I haven't done that in a long time. And it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. And it wasn't just that. I think I really loved the beginning of this movie because it had that dynamic of, look, me and my man are together, but there have been times that we were not. And there was this little girl, and she was struggling and wanted to be with her mom for her birthday. And I understand that. And him being kind of detached, but giving her her wish, and just that weird dynamic. And I'm always obsessed with the dynamics of the characters. And it was a very interesting dynamic. And it was a little cheesy at times when they were having communication, but I was like, this is, and I understand that they have, you know, his mom was living with her or his mom was living with him, and it was, maybe she wasn't, but she was there a lot. I think that's just kind of different dynamic than what we're used to in the States, but I loved the beginning because it really showed what a really fucked up relationship that little girl has with her father. And even though he is working and constantly in that business mind, he was trying to give her what she wanted. And that really really set the space for the movie. So I liked that.
I kind of felt the opposite, just in, maybe it was just my bitchy mood about having to read, but I was like, they're pulling this cat's in the cradle, daddy works too much, never has time for the little girl, and divorced parents, like, cliche to make me give a shit about these characters so that when they're in peril later on in the film, I will care. And later on, they do some things that we'll talk about that makes me care about them. But at this point, I was just sort of like, yeah, fuck you. I'm not going to fall for this old cliche, move along, you know, so.
Okay, well, I hear you. I think as our breakdown goes on, we'll definitely be able to point out a few things that we appreciated or didn't about certain characters. But kind of going along the lines of, we were talking about how speedy the situations in this movie can escalate. It was almost as speedy as the train was going. So we're literally right at the beginning of this journey with the father and daughter. And pretty much as soon as the train goes off, it leaves in a woman with a bite. I think it's on her leg. She kind of starts freaking out and convulsing. Some people start to notice. And then all of a sudden, that lady attacks a train attendant. And for the most part, that's how the infection starts to spread. And it spreads really fast. And interestingly enough, we know that we've probably all seen a lot of different zombie movies, and everybody's version of an infection or a zombie is similar, but they put their own touches on it. I personally like the type of zombies that they had in this because they're fast and they just don't bullshit around. And there was one great shot where all of the zombies kind of explode and like jump on the walls of the train. I thought that that was outstanding. So what are your general thoughts on the zombies themselves and how they initiated, how the outbreak started? Let's go with you, Kristi.
Oh, thank you for going me first, because I was going to interrupt anyway.
We know. Okay. I'm just kidding.
I loved how the initial zombie thing started. But here's my problem. Here's my really big problem is some of them developed really quickly, and then some of them developed really slowly. And that bothered me. It was only like how it progressed in the movie was how the zombie virus got in the system. So that bothered me a little bit. Like, why? Okay, so this person it's taking him a little longer. Why? Where's his bite? What's happening? Why does this happen this way? Yet some of these happened immediately. So I loved, it really reminded me of the 28 days. Is that what it's like? Was 28 days, right?
Yeah, 28 days later.
Mm-hmm. 28 days, 28 weeks movies where it's immediate. And I liked that. But I don't like how it was kind of picky and choosy about how the virus spread. And maybe there was some sort of method that I wasn't identifying with that could have happened, but I wasn't seeing it, and that irritated me. But otherwise,
you just described the Walking Dead zombies, basically.
Yes,
they're
exactly.
Zombies upon.
Exactly.
Well, I will say this: unlike
Very
the Walking Dead,
yes.
Yeah, but unlike The Walking Dead, on The Walking Dead, a zombie could grab someone's leg and it's just going to like yawn at it until somebody stabs it, unless it's an important character.
Exactly.
These zombies just bite your ass. There's no real hesitation. They really try to get you. So I think I kind of appreciate them more along the lines of, I would probably make them akin to the Game of Thrones zombies, except they don't necessarily pick up weapons. So I think that they're a little, yeah. But I mean, they're fast and they're very aggressive. So
some of them,
I definitely appreciated that.
Some of them I saw were like, but not doing anything. And I'm like, all right. And you know what? That's me because I am a huge zombie fan. So that's me being like, okay, I'm being ridiculous, but that's a little too much for me. But I thought that most of the zombie progression, I loved like the baseball team, and there was a lot of good relationships developed very quickly in the movie, and I thought that was great because I think that's what a big problem is with movies, is that struggle of developing personal connections. And I felt like they did that really quickly in a small amount of time, which I was very impressed with. I loved that.
Hold up,
Did you
y'all.
appreciate it?
Hold up. Thoughts real quick on the quickness of the zombies, whether they were slower to turn or not. I think that was supposed to be a character device because we see it later in the film when, I won't spoil it yet, but when some of the characters that we have come to know and appreciate turn more slowly. I think it is supposed to be like, if you are a stronger, not characters in character in movie, but stronger as a human being, that you can like consciously fight it for a little longer. Just like when someone's in the hospital and they're going to die possibly, and people say, oh, this person's a fighter though, they're really hanging on though. I'm wondering if it's something more like that, where if you're a stronger human being, that you can kind of keep your humanity a little bit longer, and it staves off the becoming a flesh-eating zombie quicker. And especially if you don't know what's happening and you get bit and you're just like, boom, you turn, because it's just like it all happens so fast. I don't know. I'm just kind of going with that because we see that as we move along in the film, we see some characters that hold off longer, but talk about, I'm tired now. And that means that they can't hold it off for very much longer. And also, I know that Yardley is out on The Walking Dead, but I love it. And, well, I can see why it's getting tired, but it's coming back on Sunday, and I'm very excited. And I will be wearing my "If Daryl Dies, We Riot" t-shirt. So,
oh, hell yeah.
Easy. Take it easy.
Daryl will not die. Sorry.
Damn right.
Sorry. Yardley?
No, I'm here. I have heard my fair share of Daryl Dixon love on the Talking About Walkers podcast.
I can only imagine.
Bitches, it's
I'm
all out
sorry.
war.
I'm so sorry. He's amazing, though.
I don't know where they're going to go from there, but all I know is that I'm excited for All Out War. So anyway,
I have loved him since Boondock Saints. So let me give me my love for him because Boondock Saints. Yes. But
all right. You can have that.
You can, but
And Negan's hot too, even though he likes to hit people with baseball bats. I don't care.
Oh, but the right people. Let's be honest. Anyway, please continue, Yardley. We're totally taking control of this, and it's yours.
It's all good now. As expected, the infection spreads. All hell breaks loose. The character Sang-Hwa, who we're going to call the tough guy from here on out, he tries to barricade the door. The passengers discover that the infected can't open the doors, and they make the assumption that the sight of humans is what makes them attack. So very smartly, they cover up the windows with newspaper to kind of make the zombies think that they're gone. And during that period, people that are on the train start getting news updates about the zombie outbreak. So the engineer of the train alerts the passengers that the train will not go to Xiaonan, but will go to Daejeon, where all the passengers will be quarantined by the military. So I have to ask, if you were in this situation, Moni, what would your reaction be to the news of a quarantine of yourself and your family?
I have seen too many fucking horror films because, I've had some training because I've worked for a government entity in helping to, not so much in quarantine, but in taking people in during emergency situations and how to handle that and everything. And so IRL, in real life, we're like, quarantine should be where you will be safe and where it's the best opportunity for professionals to screen everyone who is in there with you and make sure that nobody else is sick and protect you from any outsiders that may be sick. So that sounds like a great idea, actually. And I was kind of wondering why these characters were so against it. Initially, just hearing the word quarantine, they were like, oh, we don't want to do that. I was like, why not? Why not be somewhere where you'll be safe, supposedly, if you haven't seen any movies, and where you can stay put and where you'll have resources and all those things. Now, of course, when they get there and they see, all the military personnel are actually zombies, then yeah, you need to get the fuck out of there. But if we're being realistic in a situation like that and you're with your family and all this shit is going down around you, I feel like that may be your best bet, even though it can be kind of scary because, of course, then you're no longer in control and the military or whatever government entity is in control of the quarantine now can tell you what your family can or can't do or where they can go. But in the long run, that's probably for the best if they've got everything secured properly.
Yeah, true that. What about you, Kristi? Would that be something that would freak you out, or you're like, let's just roll with the government?
No rolling with the government from me. I don't do anything with the government. I would be all about not doing anything with the government, and I would try to steal every vehicle and every amount of water and everything I could do and go up in the shit. I don't even know. Everything that was happening, and I'm like, no, it's bad. And no,
well, in a movie, it's always bad.
Idea. No, it's a bad idea in real life. No, don't do that. If I was on a train, if I was on a bus, if I was at home, no. I would not do that. I just can't do it. I have water here. I would load that shit up in my car and I would head up to the mountains and shit. No.
Well, but think
You gotta
about it.
go.
In
But if
this
you're already on a
particular
train,
situation,
yeah.
you're on a
Yeah,
train.
I know.
You know what I
I
mean?
get that.
So
I get that. And so, yeah, no.
Chris is going to conduct that train ride up the
So,
mountain, even though there's no track.
I
It'll
think,
be fine.
no, I have to say that I think they did the right thing, because what they did was against what I think normal movie viewers would do. So they did the right thing. Like, I would do what they were doing. Not the crazy dude who's the asshole who everybody wants to die, but just get everybody on the train and keep moving until you get to that point where there's no more infection. And it was smart. But this was what I liked about the movie, which I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that right now, but that's what I liked about the movie, is it wasn't a normal type of movie that does this. It made sense. Their progression and all this that they did made sense to me. So I was like, yes, I would do that. Absolutely. And then there were some things that I was like, really? But then it went right back on the thing. And I was like, yep, I'd do that too. So it was a good, I would do those things. I would.
Well, the crazy guy, his name technically and literally in the movie is the homeless man. Now you're talking about the
no, he's fine. The homeless man's a good guy.
He's
he's
a good guy.
No, he's good. Yeah, I liked him.
He actually reminds me of a more capable raggedy guy than the guy from Dead Awake. You remember the guy who was giving them the injections to wake them up?
We do.
Yes.
There's always one of those cats in these movies.
Yes.
It just seems like. But to kind of push along, the fund manager, he makes plan for himself and his daughter to get picked up because they want to escape the quarantine. So when the train stops and they're getting the passengers to go out to meet up with the soldiers, a handful of our main characters kind of split off from the other characters, and they're followed by the homeless guy who Kristi said was awesome. Now, as the other passengers make their way through the station, they're going down escalators and walking downstairs, and they discover that the military and the police personnel have all been infected, and naturally they turn around pissed off and they start attacking everybody. So what did you think about that situation? You could kind of smell that coming, though.
I mean, I did. Yeah. I mean, they came off the train, and they thought they were coming into some quote unquote, not just quarantine space, but a safe space. And they're all walking down, and then it's exposed that the military that's there are zombies, and everybody, freaks out. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised at that. I thought it was typical, but I thought it was good. I thought the way they handled it was really good, because everybody was kind of coming down. It was everybody on the train, and they had really good character development on everybody on the train. So you got all these people coming down and just showcasing every person. And then you see that the people that they thought they were going to meet are safe, and then they're not safe. So,
well, Moni, when the train was pulling up, naturally, if it's a quarantine and you know that the police and the military are involved, as soon as the train stopped and people were getting off, there would have been personnel there to make sure that people were coming off, going where they needed to go. So I think I would have been suspicious at that point to where there's nobody out there, and then you have to go down the escalator to kind of meet the police. Would your antenna have gone off a little sooner?
Yeah, plus I've seen a few movies. Plus, runtime of the film was almost 2 hours, and since it didn't end after they got off the train, I figured something had to happen that intensified the action. So yeah, that's what I meant by the difference between in real life, it's like, oh, quarantine, safe space. This is a good decision for me and my family, or at least the best out of bad ones that we're going to have right now. But yes, in this situation, there's, like you said, there's nobody guiding traffic. I still have an hour and a half left in the film. And this is all sorts of wrong. Let's get the fuck out of here.
No doubt. I mean, no doubt. So all hell breaks loose again. And everybody pretty much kind of bum rushes trying to get back to a safe space on the train. Some people lock themselves in rooms. Everybody's just pretty much trying to handle themselves, every person for themselves pretty much at this point. So we get a group of others that include the homeless man. They reach a car in the center of the train. They barricade themselves into the bathroom. The engineer restarts the train to head to reroute to Busan, where a successful quarantine zone has been reportedly established. So this is what's interesting. Like you're basically in a situation where you're kind of at the mercy of the locomotive conductor, because he's the only guy, at least at this point, who knows how to operate a train, or at least knows how to make it stop at this point, and things like that. So they're very reliant on this individual. So in the ensuing chaos of people trying to get back to a safe space, they try to pretty much get to another train car because, you know, there's just all of these things that are happening. And the tough guy will be our first person that sacrifices himself so the others can make it. Isn't that true? Or did I miss someone who kind of threw themselves into the fire to save other people earlier? It was basically him, the pregnant wife's husband. He was the first one.
Yeah.
I liked him, though. He was a handy guy.
The tough guy, right? Yeah.
I liked him too. Yeah.
I was like, why can't it be the fun jerk? Like, why can't he be the one at that point? Because, the guy that was punching his way through train cars of zombies, we wanted him to stick around for sure.
And he was good because he totally identified the lead guy as an asshole. Like, he wasn't mincing words. He's like, hey, asshole. Like, he realized that guy's a dick, and he was a dick. And so it was like, I liked that. Yes, that guy identified the lead guy as a dick. So I was happy with that.
Well, yeah, and, you know, during his sacrifice, old school number 2 of the sisters, I think she ends up getting killed as well. And there's actually a point, and, you know, they do this on The Walking Dead, too. Like, if it's somebody that you care about, you'll end up seeing them, you know, as a zombie. But on The Walking Dead, I guess the gag, you know, at the end of that is, you know, you'll have to end up killing the person that you cared about. On here, it's kind of that situation where she sees her sister. And I thought, what did you think about her decision? She basically got fed up with how everybody was acting and felt like some people were cowardly. Yeah, and so she basically lets all the zombies in to kill everybody in the front car. And it's like, wow, you know, one person can fuck it up for everybody, huh?
She really can. And I really felt like that was the right way to go with the movie because I didn't think it was smart. Of course not, because they all die, but I felt like it was the right way to go because god damn, those people were assholes. So they deserve to die. Sorry, they deserve to die.
Moni.
True story. And that bitch made executive decision. And I was like, yes, queen, yes.
Yes, I was like, open the door, bitch. And she did.
Well, she didn't even get the right guy, though. I mean, it wasn't her fault. But
she opened
the D-bag we hated the most was like, I'm going to go hide because I'm a D-bag.
She opened it up and she did the right thing, which didn't solve our problem, though, right, Yardley?
D-bag took off like a cockroach and was like hiding somewhere else. Yeah. They always do.
Damn it.
Well, you know, pettiness carries over into a zombie apocalypse. I guess, but yeah, that was a pretty OG thing to do. So old school got her revenge. You know what I'm saying?
She did, man. She fucked that car up.
Now, Now, at this point, the fund manager finds out that Busan had fought off the zombies, but he also gets information that the company that he works for helped to fund the project that caused the outbreak. So that's a
Yep.
big bummer. Yeah, that's a huge bummer. What would you feel like, Kristi, if you found out that you're in a zombie apocalypse and the people who you work for were responsible, basically?
Okay, so I did a little thinking on that. A little. And so he was a fund manager. He wasn't directly responsible for the apocalypse. He wasn't involved in the actual problem with the science of what happened. So I can't really, I mean, I could tell that they were trying to make that involved with him, and I'm like, really? Because I mean, what? He invested with their company? No? That's it? Like, no. How would you know? No, I can't. I didn't feel like he should have been, or his journey or his story should have been involved. I mean, I get what they were trying to do. It would have been better if it had been more of like The Mist with Stephen King, where he was directly involved, and he wasn't. So I was kind of like, I'm not feeling like he's got some story to tell. No, he's fine. I didn't feel that. What about
What
y'all?
if the library funded the apocalypse, Moni?
I honestly, even the company, I don't think outside of like superhero films and comic books that anybody ever sets out to be like, "Muhahaha, I'm going to create this thing that's going to, kill everyone in the world." I mean, look at Terminator, and I'm sorry, the rest of them pissed on the legacy, but the first original 2 Terminator films were like, they were trying to create, the new robots so that they could, I don't even remember what they were trying to do, but they certainly weren't trying to wipe out the entire human race, okay? You don't start off today going, I'm going to cure cancer by doing this thing with genetics, and then saying that what really happens is that, oops, we end up killing everybody in the world. Like, nobody does that on purpose. That was totally ineloquent. I'm way down in this glass of wine. But anyways, my point is, like, even the company itself, I highly doubt ever set out to have this happen. And I'm sure somebody fucked up bigly along the way that led to it getting out, as we saw like in the deer in the beginning, where the deer gets hit by the car and just gets up and, turns into a zombie deer and takes off.
Of course, that's kind of like that's the point of the movie at the beginning. Yes, it's gonna.
I don't know what kind of person, what kind of super villain you be that you got to be like, I want to take over the whole world with this thing that I'm doing. Why don't you just do a nuclear bomb then? But that's neither here nor there. So I definitely don't blame the fund manager. And I think also at this point in the film, he showed enough humanity. He showed enough of coming around to being a decent father and all those things that we needed to see from him. And as far as character development, that we're not like, this is all your fault because you were a money guy. I mean, whoop-de-doo,
Okay, well, let's talk about what being a decent father gets you, because a blocked train track forces them to look for another train, and the fund manager is bitten and shows tough guy's pregnant wife before he turns how to break the train. He then says goodbye to his daughter and throws himself from the train. So how did you think about the way the fund manager went out? And for him to kind of start to develop into something that he probably should have been, concerning, his daughter and things like that at the beginning of the episode. How do you feel like the end to this character? Did you think that he went out, in a glorious way? Do you think he went out in a bittersweet way? Because we know at the end of the day, he was doing everything that he did to make sure that, his daughter and the remaining handful of people were okay.
Damn it, Yardley. God damn it, Yardley.
Mm-hmm. The feels, man.
Damn it. Fuck. This is where I very carefully worded a text to you and then deleted it because, god damn it. First of all, he didn't need to die. He didn't need to die.
No, he did not.
What the fuck? I mean, I was so pissed. Oh my god. And then when she was singing the song in the tunnel, I was crying.
Yeah, Aloha. Yeah, that was
and I know that song. Oh my god. Like, no. He didn't need to die. I'm sorry. He did not need to die. He did die. And then I knew when he was, like, trying to, like, tell her how to run the train, what he was gonna do. I knew it. Oh, he's gonna fucking throw himself off. I knew that. But it still didn't
Moni.
make me feel any better.
Now, Moni, I take it that if you were in that situation, you wouldn't have did a nosedive off of that train.
Okay, first of all, I have street cred for cracking skulls out here because I have to deal with a lot of security shit where I work. And so I always try to be this person that's like, I have no feels, I don't cry, like that's not who I am. And so I want to read you actually these texts that I was sending to my friend because I watched the last half hour today and I had to sit in front of my 4-year-old so that she was blocked from the television while she was on her iPad because I'm just a good shitty mom like that. So I didn't want her to see what was going on in this film. And I was watching that last half hour and I literally this is what I was texting my friend. Oh no, not that guy. Damn it. If I had feelings, I'd be so sad right now. If I had feelings, I'd be crying. Fuck. It kicked me right in the heart balls. And then I said, oh my God, she finds her daddy just in time to have him die. North or South Korea, they're no damn good.
Fuck them.
And then I'm like, the moment that he dies, he remembered the day his daughter was born. I cannot even.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is Yardley's fault. He did this. And then all in caps. They're still not safe. What kind of bullshit is this? Who is going to protect a pregnant woman and a heartbroken child in a world full of zombies?
I know. I know. I know. And to kind of fill everybody in on what Kristi was talking about when she was talking about the tunnel. Well, essentially, when the train arrives in Busan, they have to walk through a tunnel, and the soldiers on the other side kind of mistake the survivors for zombies. And they end up hearing.
It's just the girl and the pregnant lady.
Mm-hmm.
So her dad's dead. He's gone off and been a zombie. So, like, they don't, like, really, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Just those two.
Well, the song is what saved their lives.
Yes.
Is because, and the song was Aloha, what is it? Oi. It's a Hawaiian song that means farewell to thee.
So random, but yeah.
I know that song. Oh my God. That was like killing me. Oh. You go, Yardley. You go.
Well, you know what? I think overall, especially, you know, when we look at a lot of zombie films that, you know, that predate this one, they all have their own different character. I personally like the zombie films that have some humor. My favorite one is Return of the Living Dead. It's always going to be number one in my book because it had humor and it had some, you know, it had some pretty gross zombies in it. But I like this too. I just think that I thought that it was put together pretty good. They didn't take themselves too seriously, but it wasn't, you know, crazily comedic. It just had its moments. I thought that it worked. I thought the pacing works. And I like how they just really, they get after it really quickly and kind of fill you in on the things that you might have wondered about had this been a slower paced film. They did that very quickly. I thought that they were clever in how they, you know, the people would get updates about what's going on the outside. And we always have to take into consideration that this is one of those fast trains. So a lot of this stuff is going on in like hours. So I thought that was pretty good. Was there anything that stuck out or things that we didn't cover that you want to discuss? We've got a little bit of time.
Well, I will, because first of all, let me just tell you, Yardley, that I loved this movie, and god damn it, I don't even like movies that have subtitles. So I'm sitting here watching this movie and reading for the fucking God. I don't even read ever. And here I am watching this movie.
Whatever.
I don't read shit. I mean, I read a book, but I ain't gonna read fucking movies. And so I read this, and it was good. And then at the end, I was bawling my eyes out. And then I've got my phone, and I'm texting you, Yardley. And I'm like, motherfucker, why would you do this to me? It was really good. I liked the development of the characters between the dad and the daughter. And I liked how at the beginning it was clearly they did not have a good relationship. And at the end, she kind of learned to love and respect him and didn't want him to go. God damn it, I'm going to cry now. Because she didn't want him to die, and then he died. And then they had the guy and his wife, who was this big tough guy, and his wife was pregnant, and he gave the dad a lot of shit, and it was a great dynamic. It was a good indie, not just an indie thing. It was a great dynamic for a movie. I loved it. And so he's given the dad a lot of shit, and he's got his wife who's pregnant and everything. And it was a good movie. Screw you, Yardley. Damn it.
Yeah. Every time I thought I was going to get out of it without crying, every time I was going to get out of it without crying, they did something else. I mean, from where the tough guy dies and his pregnant wife has to see it, and then where, the little girl has to witness so many horrific things. And can we talk about that little girl's performance? Because
oh my God, she was so good.
Her crying. Oh my God, they kept cutting back to her crying, and I was just like, I'm gonna die now.
And she was very good at just like calling her dad out.
Yep.
But she didn't feel like he was doing what she felt like he needed to do. She was like, well, my mom says that you aren't really good at this. And he's like, oh, fuck. And that, like, pushes him. Like, I can so see that happening in real life. Like, her saying, my mom says that you're not good at this. And then he's like, oh, fuck, I got to do this. Because she's right, Like, oh, so good. So brilliant. So smart. There were some cheesy things, but only because I'm not South Korean, so I can't really identify with some of those things. But everything else, oh my gosh, yes, so good. Loved it. I love this movie.
Yeah.
Damn it, Yardley.
I do too. Oh. I'm probably going to make my husband watch it, even though I had been bitching because he went to bed when I was trying to be like, I have to read this shit. I'm going to have to pay attention. What the fuck is this? So now that I've actually finished watching it, I don't know if I want to watch the ending again, just because I made it through the first time with my kids in the room. Like, don't look at mommy. She's just trying to put salt into her coffee just for flavor. It's fine. Everything is fine, kids. Look away. But yeah, well, it's like I made it through the scene where her dad dies and he's like flashing back on his life and as her as a baby. Oh my God, I saw those little baby feet and I was just like, no, I will not cry. Why? And then she's walking through the tunnels and I'm like, how are they going to survive this? And then I'm like, oh, they're going to the soldiers. And the soldiers, of course, get the orders to kill them. And the soldiers raise their guns and they're about to shoot them. I'm like, motherfucker, if they kill them too, because they did not need to kill the dad. I agree. They could have let him live. And so they're walking through, like we said, and then the little girl starts singing, and that's what makes them realize these are humans. And then she's singing, and I'm still like, I'm okay, I'm breathing. And then I see the cut to the little girl's face close up, and she's just bawling while she's singing. And I'm just like, hold it together for 5 more minutes. This movie's almost over. How much more can they do? They kick me right in the heart balls. Like, God damn it, Yardley. What did you try to do to us?
I know. That's what I said a couple of days
I have a reputation to uphold, damn it.
God, it's so bad.
Hey, I love the movie as well, and maybe I'm the odd person out because I watch that type of stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, it's it was it was kind of one of those things when the father did himself in. I mean, these are things that we've seen in other movies, but you're right. If it's executed well and it's done right, it definitely worked. And I thought that it worked because even going into this, it's got great. It got a lot of great reviews. When I was reading the reviews for it, and I was seeing Rotten Tomatoes, I think gave it like a 93 or something, and
Yeah.
all of these other sites gave it these great scores. I thought that it was going to be a lot more. I thought it was going to be a lot more character based, but the pacing did not allow them to slow it down. They actually developed the characters and made it about the characters as the story progressed. So I definitely appreciated that. And I actually found the movie in how Walmart or whatever has those little discount Blu-ray bins.
Really?
It was like $7. So I got it.
What?
And that's how I was able to listen to it in English because I wasn't going to really mess around with that. I think the last time I saw a subtitle movie was, I think it was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Saw that in the theaters.
Wow.
So that was the last time.
I want to say something because I don't watch any kind of subtitle movies ever. And you introduced this movie to me, and it's the only reason why I watched it. And I have to tell you that I would never watch this movie if it wasn't for you. And I really loved it. And so you've opened a whole new movie.
I was going to say the same thing. Yes. I may try this again.
Really?
Well, you know what? I don't mind reading subtitles. I just think that the last movie that I watched in Crouching Tiger was the time I went to a movies and read it. But I don't really mind it because most of the time when there are subtitles, they still what do you call it? They kind of abridge it a little bit just to make it, easier for you to read.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really mind it. And if the content is solid, I can get through it. So it's definitely a movie that I think our listeners can appreciate. I highly recommend.
Absolutely agree. And I love that. You have done something to me and I'm ready to I watch all this fucked up shit and I'm so excited because I was not excited about watching this movie and I only did it because you wanted me to. And then I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this was so good. And I cried and I haven't felt like that emotion in a long time. And you created that. And so now I'm like, fuck, I've got to watch all these movies that I didn't even know existed. So you've opened a whole new avenue of movies for us.
Well, both of you are welcome, but you know what we didn't do at the beginning of the show? We want to make sure that our listeners know how to follow us on social media. So, Moni, how can everybody get in touch with you?
Hold on, real quick. I'm just seeing one of the negative reviews for this film was from IndieWire, David Ehrlich, and he said it's Snowpiercer with zombies. And I'm just going to call that out and say Snowpiercer is an awesome film, and zombies are generally awesome to watch, and this was done well. So fuck you. What's wrong with Snowpiercer with zombies?
No, it's not Snowpiercer with zombies. It's not the same thing. No,
yeah, because it doesn't have Chris Evans. I'm sorry.
Not just that, but the whole concept of Snowpiercer has nothing to do with what no. I'm sorry. My voice is gonna go high, and I'm gonna be an asshole. So I'm just gonna be like, no.
Because you've been kicked in the fields, and when you get kicked in the fields, everyone knows that your voice gets higher.
They're two totally different concepts. What are you talking about? Not even the same fucking concept. So I will cage fight you, Chris, whatever the fuck your name is, and that will be no. So anyway.
Anyway, follow me on social media. Jesus Christ. By the way, it feels good to say Jesus Christ. I grew up in an old school Catholic house, and I used to have my mouth washed out with soap every time I said that. Took the Lord's name in vain. So Jesus Christ. Follow me at Moni Bear, MoniBarre on Instagram, and Rebel Moni, MONY, on Twitter.
Twitter.
Tweet,
Hey,
motherfucker.
I have a quick question for both of you guys. Are you guys doing anything for the Halloween party scene? Are you guys dressing up? Moni?
I have 2 small children, therefore not much of a social life. I will be taking them out trick-or-treating, and our little suburban neighborhood goes bigly for that event. But otherwise, yeah, I had somebody, like some pervert at the library, like, you're a librarian. You used to dress up in some hot costume and go around. And I was like, okay, keep dreaming, put your tongue in your mouth and, move along. But no, other than that, I have no real plans. What about you guys?
Yardley?
You know what? I haven't really thought it through. I was thinking that maybe you two should go outside the box and serve kids salad when they come to your door or something like that.
Oh my God, I saw that. That is horrific. Yes. Only if you want to get your house egged and deserve it. Just stand outside your house while they're egging it and be like, I deserve this.
Well, I haven't thought it through. That's what, 11 days away?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to dress in a slutty costume, Yardley, like all the women take the excuse to do every year?
Oh,
gosh.
He's just going to be in saran wrap or something.
Yeah, possibly.
Weird part for me, this is not normal, but this year I am invited to 3 costume parties. And
you're so popular, totally.
No, not really, though. This is why we're surprised. We're like, what the fuck? What's happening? 3 costume parties this year. 2 of them, we're doing a costume together, and then one of them is just for me. I'm going on by myself. But so I just got my costume, and I'm really excited. And we're actually, when I end this show, we're going to watch the movie. Me and Rick are going to go as Vincent Vega and Mia Wallace from Pulp Fiction. And yes, that's going to be fun. So
that's awesome.
Well, all right. That sounds like a shindig. I'm pretty sure people will probably see something on the gram at some point. Did you give them your handle, Kristi?
Not yet. No. I am at which one? Creepin' Kristi on Instagram, and the Creepin' It Real Show on Instagram, and at Creepin' It underscore it on Twitter. Sorry, I'm drunk, so I'm just going to do all the crazy things. But yes, so that's that. What about you, Yardley?
All right. Well, outstanding. You can follow me on Twitter at militant_marker. And remember, we also have a page on Facebook at Creepin' It Real Show. Go and like the page and participate. There's always some funny things being posted on the page. And we have some very fun, what would you say? We have everything from memes to weird news stories, and we always update what movie we're going to be watching next. So if you like the page and do notifications, you will always be up to date on the weird news of the movies that we're going to talk about. So is there anything else y'all want to talk about, or should we wrap this thing up?
Let's wrap it up, but thank you, Captain, for steering this sinking drunken ship today.
Thank God you're sinking it. Not sinking it, driving it.
We're sinking it.
We're sinking it. You're driving it. And
I love drunk bitches to shore.
We're good. Thanks, Yardley.
Yeah, thanks.
So tell us goodbye, Yardley.
Yeah. Or shall we start singing?
You know what? Well, actually, I was closing us out, but then I realized I was on mute. So,
that doesn't help.
To all the creepers out there,
who's the drunk one?
Not me. You know what? I'm very wholesome. I'm a very wholesome individual. I've been drinking a little bit of coffee for the show
get you
tonight.
in a slutty costume and see who's wholesome.
Yeah, outstanding.
right.
I can dig it. I can dig it. Well, all right, creepers. Until next time, make sure you check the page, do notifications, and we'll let you know what our topics of discussion will be in next week's podcast.